Well, folks, I did it again. I picked up another game. I have been searching for this game for probably 5 years now. It was one of my favorites when I was at some conventions. It is a very interesting game. It's half pinball, half arcade game. You got Pac-Man or Baby Pac-Man going around in the maze up here, and you take Pac-Man down to the bottom of the monitor, and it turns into pinball, and you have to basically fill up these letters or do some other stuff to get your power pellets back up in here. So they work with each other. It's a very cool, awesome game. It's kind of on the pricier side too because it's a very unique piece. I decided to wait and to find one that's not working so I can get it at a very good value. I eventually found one. It was about a 6-hour drive one way, but the price is right for me. The I haven't even tried it yet. It's very dusty, as you can tell, but the marquee looks great. It doesn't look like it's faded at all back there, which is great. And the bezel looks good. I've seen some pretty bad bezels. But, I mean, look how the artwork looks flawless up here, which is awesome. The playfield looks really good, except for a couple spots. You can see underneath that spinner right there, it's some damage, and a little bit underneath that spinner too, which means it kind of hits there probably a lot, I guess. But I haven't even looked at those drop targets yet. But there's dust on here. You can see the dust on there, but it's not bad. I am when I do get this working, I'm not sure what I want to do yet with this play field, if I'm going to redo it or not. It's going to be good for the beginning, but I'm just not sure what I want to do yet because it looks 95% good, to be honest. Like, it's really good, except for just that one spot right there. And it's actually, that spot is pretty rough, So, I can get new stickers for these spinners, which is nothing. That's not that big of a deal, and that's easy to fix. But then if I get brand new stickers up here, then that's still gonna look like crap. So I'm kind of like in the middle about it. I don't know what I'm going to do as far as the playfield yet, and I guess I'm not sure I'm going to do cosmetically with this yet too, because the other part is the bottom here. The door's rusted. It looks like it's seen its better days. Looks like there's a penny in there, actually. If you can see that, that's pretty cool. The bottom is not factory. Let's just put it that way. The guy that had this prior said that he picked it up from a different owner, and the bottom was completely rotted out. And what he did is he hired a carpenter to basically put this brand new base on here, which I think he did a pretty good job overall. This artwork looks actually pristine too, which makes it harder. Like the art, this part is missing, but I'm gonna have it in a spot where you can't really see that work. The guy that did this is pretty good, and I could just basically paint this black and call it good. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. The T molding would go to stop right here, and I could just paint it all black, right? And nobody's none the wiser. Like, I'm the only one that's gonna probably know amongst my friends what it is. But let's look at the bottom here. So he did a pretty good job of rebuilding it. It wouldn't be the way I would do it, but it's definitely going to be solid and never have a problem. You can still see a little bit of the water damage here, like this. This is a little soft here, but it's fine. You'll notice in the bottom there's nothing in the bottom, right? And there's supposed to be the power supply. I've got the power supply up here. I took it out because it wasn't even bolted into the bottom. The power supply overall looks good. This cover was here, and I just touched it and it fell right off. So I'm probably just going to throw that away because it's not necessary. But it's kind of hard to. It's kind of surprising you don't find those covers on these anymore because they just break off so easily. And I'm probably gonna throw it away because I don't really need it. But the biggest the biggest thing with this power supply is this thing. That's gonna be hard to plug in. So I gotta replace this cord. Not a big deal. I've got a replacement, $8 at our hardware store. So that's not a big deal. Here's the glass for it as well. So I've got the glass for the pinball part. I gotta basically get this checked, put on here, and check these fuses and check these test points. You can see these test points right here where you test the voltages to make sure that everything looks good. So it's got multiple test points, which is very nice. I see there's like 5 test points. So yeah, there's 4 over here and then 1 over here, and you got ground over here. So I'm going to kind of wipe this down a little bit and clean it up a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy like getting it shiny, but you can see the dust and stuff. And once I do that, I'm going to have to test all the voltages, make sure they're there before I even put in the game, because I don't want some crazy weird voltage going into the system here. And just a quick note on this: the boards and the monitors. The boards and the monitor look fantastic. This doesn't look very good. There, that's better. The boards and the monitor look look really good, like it was never been touched. Somebody took out the battery, which was a wise move, and you can see that I don't think there's been any battery corrosion on this thing. Like, it looks spotless, which is awesome. Like, normally you see, like, this is the Vidiot board. I think Vidiot's a really name. It's like you put a V in front of idiot and it's a Vidiot board. I don't know. There's a joke in there somewhere, but I mean, these boards are a little dusty, but other than that, they look fantastic. So I'm really happy with that. So this is the MPU. That's the lamp solenoid driver board that just basically works for the pinball side. And this is the Vidiot that works for the video and has like a lot of the game code on it for the video game. And then the monitor, I'm not sure what's going on here with this electrical tape. So maybe someone was just trying to wrap it together nice. Maybe, I don't know. The monitor looks like it's never been serviced. It looks clean though. All these caps are original flyback. This is a Wells Gardner 13K 4800. So I've got a cap kit and a flyback coming for it. The guy that I got it from said that it booted and played blind, which is, I was surprised a little bit. Not too surprised, because again, these all look in great condition, but it's not uncommon for these monitors to go out as far as capacitors go. I wonder if I can see any bad caps off the top here. That big gray one in the back looks a little curved up. Not that, maybe just my imagination, but everything else looks decent. So yeah, I got a new cap kit and stuff like that. So pretty excited because this is going in my collection. I'm actually going to sell a game just to make room for this, most likely, which is great. This obviously needs to be fixed. The control panel is just cracked and toast. It looks like crap. Very dirty. I already ordered that, so the control panel replacement's on its way. Volcano buttons seem good. They don't seem to be too bad. So steps 1 is to get this power supply working, test voltages, make sure that's good, and then put that in, plug everything and fire it up and fix any issues I find. Most likely, if you believe the guy I buy it from, that monitor is going to get recapped and fixed. I'll probably do it anyways because it's just kind of preventative maintenance. That coin door I'm going to clean up and do basically the 2 maintenance things is the coin door and this thing. I'm going to get those looking good, and then I'm going to decide if I'm going to do any cosmetic stuff. If I was going to sell this, I would fix this situation and at least get the sides parts off. I don't know what I would do exactly, but probably fix this base and do something different with it, so it looks, and that way I can paint it. You basically take off these little sideboards and then Bondo it together, because you can tell the guy put like 3 boards around here, the guy that did it. So yeah, I'd probably just remove this board and then Bondo this together, if there's even enough there to Bondo too, which is another reason why maybe just keep it as is. The back door is good. And yeah, I it I don't think I'm going to do that, because then I'd have to resand this down and get new artwork, and I don't think I'm going to do that. I probably just paint it black and call it a day. And it's okay if it looks a little scuffed here in the front. I'm not a fan of these. That somebody would probably put a crossbar right here to prevent any theft on the coin box. It would be nice to fill those holes on the side and repaint this, but I'm not going to sweat that too much, because again, I mean, look at some of my other stuff there that's got some scuff marks on it, and these things take a little bit. You can see this art isn't perfect either, for example. So doesn't bother. I'll just paint it black and get some new T-molding on the sides here. This is going to need some new T. There is no T-molding, so I got to get that ordered. Not quite the big deal there either. So yeah. All right, step 1, enough rambling by me. Let's get this power. Let's get a cord on this thing and check out our voltages and see what we'll go from there. All right, I got the power supply back in there. You can see it looks a little bit cleaner in there. Not perfectly shiny, of course, but that's fine. I've got my multimeter set up there that it's hooked up to the ground here, and I've got multiple test points, if you can see that. All those test points right there. I'm going to make sure we have the correct voltage on those test points. I have nothing hooked up like the boards or monitor or anything like that. I replaced the power cord, or the lack thereof. There was just a tail left of it. Put that in there. I drilled a hole here just to make room for the cord to come out. That hole was not there. And luckily, I have the same drill bit I use for making button holes in wood, and that was just big enough for that plug. So I haven't plugged in yet, but you're probably wondering what the voltages should be. So this is the schematics for the power supply. See that? Valley schematics power supply. And these are all the voltages, right? So ground, test point 3 is supposed to be about 12, 6.5, 43, 230, and 6.5 again. But if you follow these lines, for example, this one, follow all the way down, it goes to general illumination, so that makes sense. But if you follow test point 2, it goes into this pin, but it says NU, which I think means not used, so I don't expect to see any voltage on test point 2. Test point 5 will go in, and I'll go to the solenoids. That's for the stuff for the flippers and all that, and stuff like that. Test point 1, 6.5 goes in not used. So I expect test point 1 and test point 2 to have nothing. And test point 3, 12 volts unregulated, goes to the volt regulator input. So I expect 1 and 2 to have nothing, and then 3 and 4 and 5 to have what it says here. So I'm going to take this with me, because it's easy to reference something when it's in my hand. And we're going to try it out. I'm going to have this here for my sheet. Very exciting stuff. I have also, I plugged in the switch, because you got to have the switch on. The switch is up here. and it runs all the way down into, I'm trying to get my light on, hold on here. It runs all the way down into the safety switch right here. This one is already, somebody tilted this, I think on purpose. This is supposed to hit the door as a way to kill the power. So in order for it to work, we just got to pull it out. It's supposed to go in the door and stay in. And I could just change that so it does that, but I'm just for testing right now. I'm going to pull it out. So that one's guaranteed to be on. I don't know if that up one's on, but if you keep following the cords, it's blue and or white and black going into this right here. So we're getting power directly from here. I came in bad camera. Getting power directly from here. This basically turns it on, sends power out to this board, or it sends it to this. This gets it down into here. And then I checked all these fuses. They all seem good. That one fuse right there, focus, looks weird, but it works, or at least it's operational as far as I can tell. So yeah, I'm going to test these test points now. I'm going to just back away though. I'm going to turn this on. And unfortunately, there's no like LED indicator. So I'm actually going to put it on the easy one, the one at the top. Actually, screw that. Test point 3 is supposed to be 5 volts. No, 12 volts unregulated. So test point 3 is an easy one to get to. And we'll just lay it like that for right now because I don't want to be anywhere near it in case something sparks or something like that weird. So we're going to do it live. All right. I need to plug it in. That's the first step. Backing away slowly because I don't want to. All right, I'm going to stop the video and we'll plug it in. All right, it's plugged in. Nothing's happening yet. Oh, I want to take this off too. This little, I don't know what this was for. Somebody put this on here and it really is weird. It does absolutely nothing, so I'm not sure what this tape is for, but we're gonna put that over here. So I'm guessing that's that's on the off position because I don't have any power yet. That's reading nothing. Okay. I'm going to go like that. All right, let's flip this switch and see what happens. Nothing. Okay, I've got some inspecting to do. I'll probably start with the monitor plug. There's a plug that goes up into the monitor, which I'll have to find, but it's something to do for the power of the monitor here. Let me see. Which one's the power for the monitor? Well, that goes to that. That monitor power is here somewhere. I'm going to find a plug for the monitor and just see if we get 120 volts because that's the easiest thing is to check. And I'll work my way backwards and check back in. Well, I've figured out a problem that was my fault. You got to have that plug in right there with all the orange wires coming out. You see them kind of going back and forth into each other. That's intentional because that's what changes or signals that big transformer up there to do, or to let it know what kind of voltage is coming in. And that would be pre-configured for 120 volts or 115 volts from the wall. You switch some of those wires around and it works for European voltage with the 220 or 240. So I have not plugged this in again. I am going to plug it in and hopefully we see some voltage from the monitor right there. Be right back. All right, we are all plugged in right there. We're going to flip the switch And we're going to check the voltage on the monitor still, or the monitor outlet. Basically, this plugs directly into that monitor, and it should be about 120 AC. So I'm going to film this as I flip the switch. Sweet. All right, 122. That's exactly what I expect out of there. All right, that's awesome. Now I'm going to set up. I'm going to test those test points now to see if we get voltages on the actual board here, and go from there. All right, I've got the multimeter set to DC. I am hooked up. Let's see if you can see this. I'm hooked up to test point 1 and ground. And I expect this to be nothing, actually, because we believe, based on the schematics we looked at, even though it says test point 1 should have, I can't see now. Let me see this. It says test point 1 should have 6.5 volts DC, but I expect it to be nothing. And because it's according to the Baby Pac-Man, it's not in use. So I'm going to turn it on. Okay. I've got absolutely nothing on there. There's a small ripple, but not much to measure, which is fine. We also expect test point 2 to have nothing. If I can organize that. Let's see, test point 2 is over there. Yeah, be careful. Make sure you're not short anything when you do this. That has 1.5, which is low, or extremely low. But again, test point 2 is supposed to be 230 DC, which is not. It's basically 1.5, so that's got nothing. And Pac-Man doesn't use the 230, so we're not expecting much there. But so now we go to test point 3, it should be 11.9, basically 12 volt DC. So let's go to test point 3. Make sure not to touch anything crazy. And we are at 13.6, which is, you'd think that'd be high, but that's about right. So, it says 11.9, but 13.6 is without a load, 13.5-ish, 6. So that's pretty good. We're happy with that on test point 3. So then test point 4. Test point 3 is basically, well, I'm not sure what that's for. It's probably for the game board. Test point 4. That is for the general illumination. That should be 6.5. So I got to switch to AC, because that's supposed to be AC voltage for test point 4. And it's supposed to be about 6.5. And it's in the back corner here. So let me take this off. And look at that, 6.5, almost on the dot. 6.6. But we'll take 6.6 for now, because that should be enough for general illumination. And last but not least, the test point 5, and that's going to be a solenoid voltage, and that's going to be 43 volts. And that is going to be DC. So we got to switch this back to DC on that. Where's test point 5? Let's take this off of 4. And 5 is right there in the middle. I saw a little spark actually when I put it on there. And look at that, 43.4, right on the money. So we have all good voltages coming out of this board. We're confident. We did all the test points, and we're confident that we can hook this up and see what happens. So I'm basically going to plug everything in. When we have everything plugged in, we're going to look for 3 things. One is this on the Vidiot board is this little LED. That would blink 10 times in a row if things work good. And then there's an LED diode right here. That will blink 6 times if everything's good. So we're going to have to cycle this on. And then the monitor would power on. We're going to look for like neck glow and all that kind of fun stuff. So three things to check. We're going to hook up all three things. I mean, assuming things work, we'll hear like the initial choking track noise, which will be interesting. So, all right, let's turn this off. And I am going to hook everything up and let's see if we can get it to boot. All right, everything is plugged in, looking good. I did not plug in the monitor yet. That's those just two plugs at the top there. Why did I not plug in the monitor yet? I'm just super concerned that the monitor might start sparking or something like that, or arcing or something else weird. It probably won't do that. There's a small chance that it won't do that, but I want to see if this thing boots and plays blind before I even worry about the monitor, I guess. So got it plugged in again. I just got to flip the switch. This is like doing it live. Everything's plugged in, hooked up in theory. Making sure I triple checked everything I put in there, and so there's no other empty harnesses. There's a lot of plugins for this thing, but it makes sense because of the different everything that's going on. So I guess we'll watch the Vidiot board first to see if how many flashes we get, and then we'll turn it off and reboot it again and see how many flashes we get on the NPU. Without a battery, I don't think it needs a battery pack. I think the battery pack is just for settings and high scores. So let's leave that alone for now. All right, a little nervous because I have not. This is like a full setting power to all these boards for the very first time in my life, at least. So I'm a little nervous, but hopefully nothing catches on fire or anything like that. So that would be bad, right? And yeah, it is very dusty, but I don't clean it unless I have to, kind of thing. And that not because I'm lazy, but it's just the dust doesn't really make a difference. If I end up pulling the board off, totally will clean it up and wipe it down. But if I don't, I won't. So I've seen videos where this diode just catches on fire. So we're gonna watch that. It looks, again, these boards are in pretty good shape, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. So I should stop stalling. I'm going to turn off my light so we can zoom in on this diode here and watch it. All right, let's do it. Okay, that didn't turn on at all. So there's a problem there. The NPU, you can see it's in tracked mode. All right, I'm going to turn it off again. We need 6 flashes on the NPU, so I'm going to focus on that for right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the NPU is fully functional, which is great. So that's one board I have to worry about. The track lights are on. It's running into tracked mode. All cool things. I think I have multiple bulbs out, like this one for sure. And I think all of these should be flickering too, but I'm not 100% sure. Some of them look really faint too. Like this is on. I need to clean this playfield, obviously, but so that's a good. It's a good start. I'm not getting any power to the Vidiot board though, and that's probably complaining about that. So that did not turn on at all. So I got to figure out where the power comes from that, and maybe I just missed. Maybe I didn't plug in something in right. So I will double check my connections and see what's going on. All right, I've got the Vidiot board on the bench here. I assumed at first that maybe the power wasn't actually getting to the board. I was incorrect. I tested the plug that goes into this spot. This is where the power comes in. It actually comes in on pins 1 and 2 here, and that voltage was there. It was supposed to be 12 volt and regulated, and I measured 16. A little high, but not out of the not non-existent like I was initially thought. I checked test point 2, test point 3, or 3 is the ground actually, 4. So 2 had 5 volts, which as you can see there, it says 5. And test point 4, I think it was 5 as well. Can't remember exactly, but that was there too. And then over here, you're supposed to check test point 5 at 8.2. That was there. It was 8.3, and this was 12. That was just like 12 and a half. So all the voltages on the board were there. I starting to suspect that this LED is bad. Like it's technically trying to boot at least, but we've got not getting any flashes on this. It doesn't even like blip when you first turn the power on. It sees like a small little blip of power, but so I'm going to pull it out and test it out of the board, just to see if that is the issue, it helps it. And if it does, I have another LED, but it's red. But I think that's okay. I don't know what the difference would be, but we'll pull it out and test it, and we'll be right back. Got the LED out. It actually fell out after I desired the first one. So I desired the first one, and it fell out before I even began desoldering the second one. It's kind of pointless, but I'm going to try, see if I can test it anyways to see if this works. It should light. And this one end is really short, so I'm not even going to be able to put it back in if it is. It's not lighting up. So that LED is bad. I'm a little surprised because LEDs generally just don't go bad. I'm kind of very surprised, honestly. So we're going to test this one. This one will light up. Let's just put from the power of the multimeter. I can do it one hand. There you go, it's lit. So we know this LED is good. Come on, light up. Here. So that LED is good. I'm going to try to figure out which way it goes now because where'd it go? Right there is where it goes, but it doesn't have a nice symbol to show which direction the diode should go. So I gotta look up the schematics and figure out the right way, and then I'm gonna solder it in. All right, I got the LED in there. It's not the right color, but who cares, right? Nobody's gonna see it but me. So the electricity flows from the resistor here. I've got a little clip on here for the resistor, basically so I can test it. This half goes to 12 volt unregulated, so it flows through this way. In order to test this, I should be able to light up with my multimeter there, and you can see the trace. It goes from the top of that LED to this collector right here on this transistor. So I will test it now and see if it lights up. Let me get the black. So you have to have the red. I got the alligator clip here hooked up to the red lead. I got the negative lead here because the diode, this is a diode, and the electricity flows through this way, positive and negative, I think. I could be wrong, but the diode's going this way. That's all I know for sure according to the schematics. So this actually closes the circuit to make it light up. So I'm going to close it with my multimeter here, and it lights. Okay, let's put it into the game and see if we get some flashes. All right, the Vidiot board is back in the game with the fancy new wrong colored LED. We're gonna pull the power switch here, and we're gonna watch to see how many flashes we get, or if it even works at all. Oh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Good news is the LED works. The bad news is we didn't get the 10 flashes. So step closer. The MPU keeps booting. You didn't see in the video, but let's do it again and try to count the flashes. I got too excited. So the initial power you see, I'm gonna shut off. The initial power you see on it doesn't count. There's like a flicker as it turns on. But then you gotta count really quickly. Now let's see if we can do this really quickly now that we know the LED is working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we got 6 flashes. So we're gonna have to go check out the manual now. What it means if after we get 6. We're supposed to get 10. So I'm gonna check out the manual and figure it out. Okay, I'm on pinballrepair.com. Very good site that has some diagnostic info about Baby Pac-Man. It talks about the flashes on the Vidiot board. It also said on 7th flash there, it says if the CPU at U8 attempts to scratch the RAM, test the scratch RAM, excuse me, the U13 and 14, blah, 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 blah. But the last sentence is important. If there's no 7th LD flash, the RAM at U13 and U14 is bad. And I also have the manual here to kind of confirm this a little bit. The manual talks about the Vidiot board flashes, and it basically says the same thing. If the processor completes the test successfully, it flashes the LED and proceeds to the next test. And again, it talks about U13 and 14. So I've reseated these. Oops, let me turn that off. I've reseated this RAM a couple times just to see if it's getting good connection. And we're going to test again real quick here, hoping that solved it, but I highly doubt it will. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, six flashes as expected. So I'm going to pull these RAM off quick just to see if there's any corrosion on there or anything like that. Not likely, but we'll give it a shot. I don't have this RAM in my possession. Turn that off. I don't have this RAM in my possession right now, these 2114s. So I have to order some. I highly doubt there's any corrosion in there that would be the problem. So order those RAM. It's going to take a few days to get in, I'm sure. But what will be like days for me will be a few seconds for you. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, it's been a few days. I've gotten some stuff in the mail. I needed to get some RAM because the flash is telling me which RAM it is, or the RAM is wrong. Basically, the scratch RAM or something like that. I ordered some parts from Twisty Wrist Arcade, and I decided to order parts for the flashes I haven't seen yet. So we have a couple processors in here. The 6821 focus, 9209, or that's a TMS 9928. Ooh, numbers are hard apparently. And I got some of the other RAM, the normal RAM. This is the MCM 4517s. Hopefully I don't need any of these, but these are the interesting ones. So I needed 2114 RAM, right? And I looked online. The only place that was selling MCM 2114 RAM, basically the exact same identical ones as the ones that are in Pac-Man, right, or Baby Pac-Man right now. The only place I could find them is in Bulgaria. So I ordered them off eBay, and that will take a few weeks. But Twisty had these UPD 2114s LC, which are supposed to be compatible, or basically, one for one with the MCM 2114s. The most important thing is those -2s at the end. The -2 means like the refresh rate, like 200 milliseconds or 250 milliseconds. And the ones that were in Baby Pac-Man are P20s, which is basically the same refresh rate. So in theory, these are exactly compatible with the ones that are in Baby Pac-Man right here, which are, make sure my light on, which are these bad boys right here. So you can see that's the 2114 P20s. And I got these that are supposedly compatible. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work, and I wait for the ones to come from Bulgaria, which should be here next week. But so I'm going to swap 2 of these out for these 2. I haven't tested these at all, but it's not the big deal to swap both of them. I could, probe these and see which ones are, if one is bad or if both are bad, but kind of gonna shotgun these since they're already socketed. I mean, the sockets could be bad too. These chips and technically could be fine, and all I have to do, and I'd have to like replace the sockets. But the smaller sockets typically don't usually have a problem. The bigger ones typically will have a problem with connection. So if this doesn't work, I will probably start probing on this just to see what's going on a little bit more. But for now, we're shotgunning these two chips and we'll see what happens. I will replace them and come back. All right, we've got the RAM back in. As I can excuse my finger there, but very important to have that notch up there going straight up. It's a little confusing that this dimple is down here. I guess it's got two dimples, so I guess I didn't notice that when I first put them in. The blue dot up here is even more interesting. I've never seen a blue dot up at the top like that, corner like that. But the lettering is, reading left to right. If you look at down here, it goes down this way from left to right. And all the other chips, you can't really see that one, but all the lettering, the base of the letters are on the left side, which means I probably installed them right. And so, yeah, they're in. And this is the test. Hopefully nothing fries. It's always a fear. So I don't have the monitor plugged in yet, so we're just looking for our flashes on this LED right here. And we'll turn this on, so that part's on. We are plugged in. All right, let's count the flashes and hopefully we get past 6. Let's see. Focus. All right. Oops. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we got 10 flashes. Sweet. 10 flashes. That last one was a little long, but okay. We are in a track mode in theory, and that's good. Again, the monitor's not plugged in, so hopefully, I got one working light. That's cool. Hopefully, no marquee light. I have to fix that. Okay, hopefully this plays blind, so we know the sound works. Oh, that's a good sign. It's working. Yep. Yeah, we are playing a game in the dark. And I must have died. Okay. The game is functional. Holy crap. I did that live. I didn't even test it beforehand. So that is a very, very good sign. All right. Next up is to plug in the monitor and give it another shot. So let's turn the game off, plug it in, and see what happens. All right. I've got the monitor plugged in. So now we're going to turn it on and see how it looks. We'll count the flashes again just for fun. 1, 2, 3. Sweet. So that should be working. And that is a good sign. I'm just missing some sync. I wonder if that sync pot will work. So I'm going to go play with some dials and see if I can get this tuned in. I wonder if people played with dials just try to get this to work, and hopefully I can get it working. Be right back. So I adjusted it out as best I could, but you can see it bouncing here on the side and stuff like that. That's basically capacitors that are just old and shit. And pardon my French. I think that's supposed to be more red there too. Colors, I feel it's looking like it's getting worse as the longer it stays on, to be honest. So good news is the tube's not shot. It's going to need a rebuild. Luckily, I got a rebuild kit coming. I'll probably replace the flyback and do the cap kit on it, and that should solve that problem. But this is still good enough for test mode purposes. I'm going to get this light working. This light is not working, and I'm going to go into test mode and test every one of these switches. Oop, I pushed a button. Oh, I started a game. Rip. Must be on free play. No, I didn't. Oh, what I did. Yeah. Oh, the volume's down. Volume's not working. We lost the volume because I was messing with it because I was being weird. I think I need to. Like if I'll play with this over here, and you'll probably hear it. Unless I turned it down. Yeah. You feel that? It comes in and out when I touch this. That's a cold solder joint back there. I'm going to fix that solder joint. And I kind of want to maybe replace these pots too, because when I touch this, nothing. It doesn't really change the volume at all. So I'm gonna probably replace these pots, all of them, and resolder the connector. The what do you call it? The plug on the back. There's probably a cold solder joint back there, and these could be bad too, affecting the output a little bit. But I will do that eventually. But for right now, it's so awesome. I got a working game at least. Sound keeps cutting it out. I don't have a pin. I don't have a ball in there. I don't have a pinball in there, so that won't work. Um, so yeah, I'm going to attempt in a two-player game, so that's going to take a while. Okay, what am I going to do first? I'm going to do that last. I'm going to check out. I'm going to go into test mode right now, and let's see. This pulse control volume 2, I guess, but we'll check that out later. Oh, it's doing stuff. It's doing a solenoid test. That's all good. 4, 5. It's dropping the drop targets. That all seems to work. Although those two in the middle aren't dropping. Feels weird. Yeah, number 4 and 6 are not dropping on the center ones. So we're going to have to figure that out. So that's the solenoid test. Let's push this sound test, which is no sound right now. I'm pushing this button here on this thing. Sound test. Switch test. So switch 17 is the switch where this ball is hitting. If I go to the other side, it's actually doing nothing because it didn't. Okay, it goes back to 17 and 25. I push this down. Yeah, 17. I have to check every switch here because this is sticky. It looks like it's now it's switched to 20 finally. If I push this, it does 17. Okay, that's slightly working. All right, I'm going to test all the switches by just putting my finger over them and going through this test, the joystick test, up, down, left, right. That works. It's not doing the button testing yet. I think it would. It's not. Okay. Here's a switch on the out lane. That is not telling us anything good. I feel like I'm pushing down on these. I feel like we should be getting something and we're getting nothing. So that's a little concerning. Same thing with all these. If I flip the spinner right here. Oh, that did something. It's get to number 8. That did something, so that's good. But when I do this right here, I get nothing. So is there a switch down here? I think so. It's in the ball. Yeah, these are not. I feel like we have a problem on the board here because I'm pushing down on here. And I got nothing coming up on the switch test. So I'm going to have to check the manual out and verify which switches I need to test. So a lot of little things to do. I got to figure out switches. I got to figure out sound, and I got to get this marquee light up. The easiest one to do is the marquee light. So we're going to turn this off and fix that to get going, and then we'll work through it and see if we can get this thing all ship-shape. Got the light bulb out. Got this open. This was extremely cobwebby. You can still see some of the cobwebs. This thing has not been opened in 10 to 20 years, something like that. This poor machine. So glad I have the opportunity to bring it back to life. But we're going to get an LED light here in a few minutes. All right, we got the LED light for the marquee in there. Plugs in here. I've got a switch to turn high and low on different types of lights. It's mounted in there with its mounting screws. I put another bolt right here. I got cobwebs there. Put another bolt right here just so it doesn't slide around. And then you can see in the back there, I put a little cable tie thing to just to make sure it doesn't the excess doesn't fall on the monitor. All right, let's turn it on and see if it works. Oh, look at that! Fires up right away. All right, let's put the marquee on and see how it looks. All right, marquee in place, and it looks amazing. Look at how perfect that looks. I gotta go turn off the lights just to see what it looks like. All right, marquee in place. It looks brighter in the video than it actually is. It actually looks perfect. Oh, I gotta change my light there. I took my headlight off. The marquee looks amazing. Now, it's not a perfect marquee. You can see the imperfections on some of this stuff, like right there, and it's bubbling a little bit, but it's not bad enough where I'm going to do anything about it. This marquee just came out popping. Love it. All right, marquee down. Next up is we're going to look at the lamps. And put this in lamp test. Push the test button here. And that's the communications, and that looks good. Lamp test. Ooh, we got some bulbs out, folks. Got the tea and the fruits. Bunch in the center. One up at the top. Entire right side is working. So that's yay. I mean, I should be happy that all the solenoids work too. So it looks like I've got, that one's really not as bright as I'd like it to be, but it's good enough. So I got one in the corner and pack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6, 7. This one's kind of working. I wonder if I just replace that. So, all right, let's get those working and go from there. All right, this is what the play field looks like, belly up, so to speak. This one was just bent all to F. So I just bent that back in a spot. So it's still a little dim compared to that one over there. That one's bright. I may still replace it, may not, I don't know. I took the bulb out of this one and I wanted to check, I'm going to check the manual over here, and I did already. These are, I got the Pac-Man part list, bulb 555. So they're 555 bulbs. They're basically 5-watt bulbs. I got a pack of 555s right here. I got it from Amazon of all places. So I'm going to start replacing them one at a time and see if I can get them all working. Be right back. All right, I'm trying to figure out these lamps. So I'm looking at two specifically. There's a couple, obviously there's multiple out, but this one right here doesn't go out, or it isn't obviously working. The voltage on here is jumping from like 5 to no voltage, right? That's how it's turning on and off. This one's staying steady. And if you look, it's a yellow wire with brown stripes. And over here on the other side, there's a yellow wire with brown stripes, and it's not working. So they're connected basically. They share the same wire. And we're going to go over the schematics here and just kind of look at this just a little bit. So in the schematics, let's see if I can get my light working better. Focus. You can see the T and fruits because that's the bulb it's under, and the other one's the right inside lane. They are both using a diode and connected to this. 36 is, the 3 means yellow, and the 6 means brown. And how do I know that? Because this thing right here, wire color, 3 yellow, 6 brown, and it goes in more detail, but says like the second number is the the stripes on it, basically, or whatever. And so this goes to A3, J313. So A3 stands for the solenoid board, and J3 is the connector, and that 13 must be the pin. And how do I know that? I go back to the other side, and this is the lamp solenoid driver combo. And here it says A3 means lamp solenoid driver board, which is this schematic. And so that means if you go back again over here, it says A3, J3. So yeah, that's A3 it's going to the solenoid board. And J3 is the connector. So here's the connector. And pin 13, third from the top, right inside line and fruits T. So now I'm guessing we're not going to get any voltage if we check right there with our thing. And if this is the key is the top one, so we're the second line from the top, and we look at Q19. I would bet money Q19 is bad. It's a 2N6050. That would, I think that's a transistor. Could be a diode. Actually, that might be a diode. Actually, yeah, I think it's definitely a diode. We got two lines coming here with some resistors. So we got to check all this up into the U1 chip, 1 of 16 decoder. So I like take some signals and breaks them up into 16 outputs. So if I measure the voltage on the outputs of all of these, they should be pumping out 5 volts on and off in every one of them. But I think it's Q19, and it's going all the way over to pin 9. Well, that's like pin 1. Nope, pin 9. I'm not sure why that's leveled 0 through 14. That might be addresses, basically, but pretty sure that's pin 9 on this chip. But I'm going to go look at Q19 and see what's going on there. I think it's a diode. I bet it's not working. And I don't have any 2N6050s, so that's a bummer. Probably going to have to order some of those. So I'm going to go check on the board right now. All right, we're looking at the solenoid lamp board here. Let's just zoom out a little bit. You can see the Vidiot board we were working on down here. This is the solenoid lamp driver board. And this is the connector that has that yellow and brown wire going into a pin 13. And we saw in the schematics that it goes to Q19 for turning on and off, basically. And so I'm going to basically test it to see if there's anything weird. I'm putting the, I don't know where the transistor has a base, a collector, and emitter. I don't know which one's which on this. I'm just looking for any shorts in there. That the shorts means like if I connected these two leads together here and you hear a beep, that means that there's connection there. In this case, it's okay because it's the leads, but I'm putting the lead on the top one and the bottom one closest to me, and I don't hear anything there, so that means there's no short. And I get to this one, no short there, but now this is the one I'm worried about, and immediately you hear a short. This transistor's bad. So I'm gonna swap it out, but I've got to find the part. I have to check my stock. I don't think I have any of these because I don't work on lamp driver boards very often, hardly ever. But if we don't, we'll order some and we'll come back and fix that, replace that. I will bet a lot of money that once I replace that one, then we will be looking good and getting the lamps working again. All right, I've got the monitor out here. It's time for a little rebuild time here. We're gonna slide this chassis out here, pull it out. We're going to take this off the tube, and we're going to place all the little caps on here. Those little metal tops are caps, and rebuild this. And why am I rebuilding this? Because it was all wavy and stuff. It wasn't looking good. And I got a little cap kit here from Arcade Repair. It's got all my new caps on it, plus the bigger cap here. I also am going to replace the flyback here, so I've got a new flyback for it. I probably am okay with that flyback, but I'm figuring while I'm in there, I might as well do a little preventative maintenance and get her done, so to speak. So yeah, it's out of the Baby Pac-Man right now. It was a little kind of a pain in the butt to take it out. I had to have my son help me, but it's out, and that's what I'm going to do now. I'm not going to film videotaping replacing all the caps on that because there's 100 videos on that. So, all right, I'm going to get started. All right, I've got the monitor back in the cabinet. I put back the old flyback in here. You can see where I split the wire here to get it back on. And put on a little bit of a solder and a little bit of heat shrink there to keep it nice and tight. I think the other flyback I got was defective. This flyback was working, I would think. I think the problem was in the capacitors itself and causing all that waviness and stuff. So yeah, I switched back to the old flyback, and hopefully we won't have any ticking noises when we start it up. Let's check it out. Okay, no ticking noises from the flyback. The board is booting, and it's booted. Okay. All right, let's see the front. Yes. Looking good. Looking great, actually. 10 times better than what it looked like. There's still some waviness, which you probably can't tell. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. You can see the waviness there on the baby. But the colors look awesome. The colors look perfect. Oh, I feel lucky. I might have a little vertical alignment too. It looks like it's off to the left a little bit. So I'm probably going to adjust that down a smidge. When I say vertical, so you got to imagine this monitor is tilted 90 degrees. So vertical is technically this way on the monitor and horizontal this way. So I'm probably going to touch the vertical alignment just a bit. And to get rid of that last bit of waviness, it's a little bit of wavy. You can see a little ripple effect. There's a trick on the Vidiot board. Yeah, you can see the waviness probably in the video. You can see it kind of waving. There's a trick on the Vidiot board to make sure it's fully grounded on all sides. I'm going to go back over here. This Vidiot board is not on the back side of it. You can't see now, but the ground coming in on here, its ground is coming in two places on the board, and it's not connecting in here. So there's like the logic ground and an earth ground. And I watched a video on a guy that does this a lot, Ronnie from Joe's Classic Arcade Games. Smart man, go watch his videos. He basically dissected through the schematics that it's okay to get the ground, the logic ground and the other ground connected, and jumper them together. So I'm going to do that, and while I'm at it, I'm probably going to clean up these ROMs just a little bit, just to kind of shine them up a little bit and get a little deoxide on them, so it gets cleaned up a little bit. And then I will actually go back to the driver board and replace. I don't remember which one of these was bad, but it was causing our light issue. I got the replacement parts for these, and I'm going to pull out both these boards and look at them, and then try to figure out, or this one will be easy to figure out, or the other ones I'm going to ground it, and hopefully that solves our issue with Baby Pac-Man's monitor here, and also just kind of clean up the ROMs while I'm at it since I'm in there. I'll be back. All right, I have soldered this ground to this pin on this chip, and that connects to this. So this is a logic ground, which is weird. They weren't connected before, but if I chopstick, let's see if I can do this at one time. This would be cool. If I can. All right. And that shows it's shorted. I can make it a little more audible just to make more fun. This is the diode test. You hear a beep, that's good. And we do. So no, that wasn't connected. Those two weren't connected before, and now they are. I just put a gob of solder between these two because that's the ground. That's connected to this one right here, this little pin. So these have nothing to do with it. That's separate. Don't mind those. But this one right here is connected to this ground, which is kind of a made-up ground, for lack of a better phrase. And this is the real ground. So we'll see if that fixes our video issue. But first, I'm going to also pull out that driver board and fix that transistor and see if we can get our lights working too. All right, I got a nice shiny transistor. That's actually a transistor SCR 2N5060 is what those are. I did not have those in stock. I ordered about 10 because I thought I was going to have maybe more problems, but I only have the one. And you can see here there's no connectivity on that anymore. And if I go to the other side, it should be a voltage drop to 0.6. 0.65. All right, so that fixes that. We are going to put this back in there. Hope our lights show up. Also hope we fixed our issue in the Vidiot board for the video. So kind of two problems, one stone. Let's see how it goes. All right, got the boards back in. Sure are a lot of plugs, but got that shiny new transistor right there. Right there. And can't see it, but in the back definitely did the grounding. I also on the jumping the two grounds together, and this I cleaned all these chips and their sockets in hopes that I was seeing a little interference, if you will, like just some flakiness on the screen. I believe it was bad connections or connections not fully good. If that doesn't help, I might have to replace these sockets in here because that'd be the next step. But what I did will fix it. I almost guarantee it. So hopefully it still boots, because that would suck if it didn't. It still boots. Anyway, I didn't do a lot. So we're going to watch that LED and hold on to our butts. 1, 2, 3, 10. All right. Good news. That booted. Oof. Screen is up and it is solid. Not a waviness. Okay, I lied. There's a slight late wave, but it looks better. Definitely looks better than it did. You can. It looks slightly better. I can't tell on the video, of course, but it is slightly better. That flakiness comes in right away. That's going to bother me, and I have to figure that out. I also can't do any vertical adjustment here because I can't. Well, you can, but there's just like these little pegs in there. You gotta go up, or you do middle, top, or bottom. I'm not gonna do that. It's close enough as far as that goes. The monitor part looks pretty good overall. There's a little bit of waviness, but nothing I'm not gonna get my spend over. The tea and fruits wasn't working before, and look at that, it works now. And this one I think was a part of it too. So we know that transistor helped. What did not help was the this crackliness that happening, the little freckles in the screen. Like it happens, and maybe you can, if I sit here a little bit, maybe you can see it. But I'm kind of, I mean, it bothers me obviously, and I'm gonna try to figure it out what's going on there. For the most part, it's working, which is great. I might have like a cold solder joint too somewhere on the board. This would be on the video board. That's where the problem would lie. You can hear the crackiness of the sound too. And it happens almost after it warms up. It could be like a capacitor on there that's not quite right either. But for the most part, we got a working game. So I'm going to come back to that because that's going to be, I could spend many hours on that and get frustrated. It's not the end of the world, but we'll see. I'm going to keep it running and whatnot. I ordered decals for this. Those two things should be coming soon. I'm going to do, let's just pop into lamp test right now quick and see if we can figure out what's going on with the, all right, we're back. We're in lamp test. And see if we got all the lamps working. We don't have this one yet. And we don't have these. So I'm going to pull up this board and start looking at those. And I know it's not a transistor because I checked them all. That those transistors are good. So I'm going to see if I can figure out what's going on with these. This one's dim-ish, but still technically working. Looks better on the video than it does, but I got a couple here. Let's see. I can just do it live. So I'll flip this side key to unlock the thing, or I had it locked. Unlock it now. Like that. I don't have a ball in there, right? Yep. Okay. Might have to do two hands. I'm going to pause this video and then come back. All right, this looks like still in lamp test. I can push this one back because this one is working clearly. All right. I'm going to have to get the multimeter. I don't think it's just a bad bulb because it looks like I tried changing that bulb. And once I figured out the drive transistor on this one, I suspected that this was not also a drive transistor problem, and same with these other ones up here. So I'm going to start testing around the multimeter a little bit, seeing if power is still getting there, is actually getting there, and then and probably replace a few bulbs too. It could be just a bulb. That one could be a socket, which would be a little bit more frustrating. We'll see. I will change some bulbs, check some sockets, and be back. All right, I've got some improvement. I've checked a couple of the bulbs. I replaced some of the ones that weren't working. A couple of them just need to be kind of refresh the contact inside the socket. There are 4 still remaining out. Up and down this bonus arrow is out. There's 2 of them back to back. And then the A and the M and Pac-Man. So the A is right there and the M is right there. So 2 of these are on the same transistor in the back, and 2 of these the same transistor. And I think the transistors are bad, even though they didn't test bad when I was testing them with my multimeter. So they line up to, you can look in the schematics, but I looked it up right. It's Q15 or Q5 and Q17. So I've got the logic probe here hooked up to my ground and 5 volt. And let's see here. I am going to test. There we go. A little better. Probably need to. There, a little better light. So this is Q9, and you'll see it kind of pulsing. And that's normal. If we go to Q5, it sounds a little different. Doesn't sound exactly right. It sounds different. And I could probably put a oscilloscope on there to prove it. That's not bad, or it's not good, but 17 is obvious. See how it's just solid on? This one's definitely bad. And I'm thinking, sorry, this one is definitely bad. And this one is probably just out of spec. It's almost there, but not quite. So I'm going to replace both those, just like I replaced the one down in Q15, Q19. And we'll see if we get all the lights working. All right, got some brand new transistors right there. Q5, I have not tested this at all, so we're doing it live. All right, let's turn it on. Hope we don't get any smoke. That sucked. Looks like we're about to boot. Yeah, the boot has happened. All right, let's see if we get any action on those bulbs. Go into test mode. Lamp test. No action whatsoever. Boo. All right. I was very confident that was going to help. We'll have to go back and probe some more and see what happens. All right, I've been tinkering with the bulbs and the lamp board a lot. I was basically, these bulbs are not working, and it was kind of just twisting and turning a little bit, and those two fired up. There's only two bulbs remaining that are not working, and these two flipping arrows right here, this one and this one, they're on the same SCR driver transistor thingy. So I thought it was just that. And I take a battery and I hook it up to positive, negative, and these bulbs, both these bulbs light up. So I know the sockets are fine. I know the bulbs are fine. I'm just not sure, well, what's wrong, basically. But I have a good idea. So I'm going to the back and 17 is the issue here, and I got my logic probe hooked up to 5 volt and ground, and that's doing weird stuff, right? So, and I check others, and that's not a good one to check. That one is pulsing as expected. So, okay, I'm like, great. So, I replaced this Q17 already, and so this has to be good, right? Can't put two bad ones in a row, or the odds. It goes to resistor 10, and I put my thing on there, and it's doing nothing. It's just well, this goes from here, right? So pin 17 in the back, the base of this is up here. This is should be the signal, but the base should be triggering. So you see how that one's triggering, one on and off, on and off. This is just stuck low, nothing else, which is a problem. And Q17 goes into R10. There's a lot of resistors here, but see, that's what I expect. The other side of it, there's a little trickle, but nothing. But I go one above it. You can't quite hear it, but you can hear that one. See, that one's flashing and blinking like I expect. But R10 did nothing. So then, okay, so where's that going, right? It comes from this chip right here. This is a 4514. It's a decoder. It's like a 4 to 16 decoder, basically. It's meant to like split up a few signals into from 4 to 16. Very simple chip when you think about it, but the pin that's hooked up to basically R10 over here is pin 14. All right, and this is 13 in the top, and 14 is right next to it. So I look at 13, which is good. You see how it's flickering and doing exactly what I expect for a pulsing lamp? That's great. This is just stuck low. It's ticking a little bit, but it's just stuck low. And I checked the inputs on this one, and I don't remember what the inputs are now, but it's like the top and the bottom ones. And that's just power, I think. So these are all working fine. This one is just not. I have no conclusion other than this right here. This chip is bad, this 4514, at least on one pin. And so I ordered another one, and I'm going to replace it, put a socket in there, replace it, and try it out. So those two bulbs are going to have to be on hold for now to figure out what is going on with those two bulbs and those two lamps. And I could just let it go and say, call it complete, but I'm a completionist and definitely want to figure that out. The other thing is, so you see this flipper? So moving on from the lamps, we have a flipper problem. You notice that solenoid looks different than that one. So I'm kind of like, okay. And you look at the top, this left one is limp. It doesn't rest in the right spot like this one does. This one does nice. In and out, in and out. The spring pulls it back all the way. It does its job to pull this back in, and this sticks out. This can't even move it. And what's going on here? What's going on here with this? You've got all this solder here, and it just broke right off. This is not even connected anymore. If you can see that, that's a disconnected bracket. So I don't even think this solenoid works. I haven't even taken it apart yet, but I bet you this solenoid's all gunked up and melted inside, like it was locked on, which could be a transistor, and I should probably track the transistor. Look at this hack job. I just realized this. Wing nuts. I don't even know what is going on here. If that's supposed to connect to something, but it's not. I don't know. This all has to be cleaned up and look a lot nicer than, like, compared to that, basically. So yeah, even this spring is not doing its job. It should pull it all the way out like this. It's not. It just sits there and it's stuck. And so, long story short, I placed an order for. Hold on. Bally flipper rebuild kit, left only. We are the left only, so that's all the parts inside there. And inside there, you can see there is a brand new bracket right there, so that helps. I ordered I got the sleeve, the switch, the rod, drive rod, all that kind of great stuff. So I'm going to replace all the parts since I got them all. And I did order a new solenoid coil, so I can replace that as well. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Up next is we're gonna get this left flipper working, because it looks like poop. I wonder if I can hold this. You can see how it just kind of dangles there. I can push it in even, and it doesn't. Like this one's solid. I can't move it, but this one I can push it in, and it's obviously just needs to be replaced, or not replaced, but repaired. And so that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm take all these parts off. Hopefully I'm gonna clean this up and then go from there. All right, look at that brand new left flipper. I hope I didn't screw up and not do both flippers in a rebuild, but I don't think it's a problem. These wires, this one's a little shiny, but that's okay. It can be partially exposed because it's only all touches these these two other ones, excuse me. 3 in total. Brand new backstop here for the solenoid. It looks great. This just slides in and out, and it goes all the way to the end like it's supposed to. Perfect. Brand new spring, brand new switch. You see how it opens that switch? That's the end of stroke switch, telling it to cut power flipper so it doesn't burn up the coil. So all that's wired in. I got plugged in, so let's turn it on. If a coil locks on right away, that's a problem, and then we will turn it off right away. So let's see what happens. Okay, no coil. It's booting up. Okay, booted. All right, so far so good. Can't press anything yet because we're not in a game, but we're going to go to test mode. And let's see, test mode is down here. There's a little red button. Communications, that's the lamp test. I wonder if this works in lamp test. It's not. So all right, must have to go to solenoid test. Push the button again. It's going through them all. It does not do the flipper and solenoid tests. Okay, I can't test. Oh, it did do a flipper, but it didn't do the other one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, maybe I push the button. You can see it counting through all of them, but it didn't do the left. It didn't. Right flipper triggered, but maybe I just did. Okay, so it's definitely not. Okay, wait a minute. I gotta watch closer, so it goes pretty fast. Okay, so that's not very helpful. I'm gonna have to look at the schematics to see what the numbers mean on that. But I'm trying to get in test mode so I can just test the flippers. That's a sound test. That's not gonna help me. That's a switch test. That might help me. Okay, switch test is not doing anything. Okay. I might actually have to go into a game to test the flipper, which is weird. High scores, I don't care about that. Now we're into coin credits. So I'm going to turn it off and go into a game to actually test the flippers and see if it works. So let me put the playfield down and start a game. All right, I've got the playfield down. These lights went out again. I'll have to go back and look at that. But we are going to... I tried already with going back in test mode. Flippers did not work. So I'm going to put it into a game. Let's see what happens. That's trying really hard to do so. There might be something in the way there. Okay, the right flipper works. The left flipper does not. And I have to figure out why that keeps resetting. All right, I've been trying to figure out why this flipper is not firing over here, this brand new one. I checked multiple things. I checked connectivity from this wire and this wire. I checked the power when it was on. That's getting the 43 volts just fine on the wires. But when I checked the resistance on the two lugs here for the coil, it reads out like 300 ohms, and it shouldn't be. It should be like less than 1 ohm to kind of facilitate a short kind of thing. And I thought maybe the coil was bad. I was like, oh, 300 ohms. I think the coil must be bad, but it's brand new, right? So it shouldn't be a problem. And I started thinking, well, maybe the switch is bad because the switch has to be closed. You know, could be able to conduct power for this to work. And eventually, when the flipper pulls in, this end of stroke switch opens, so it cuts the power. So this has to, when it's closed, it has to be able to conduct power. So I had this other one as the example, right? And that opens up just fine. You can see behind or in front of the spring, it's got a shadow. Let's focus. You can see it open right there in the middle, which is the same thing. There's an extra switch on here for popping the ball out during the game, which isn't really used anymore. But that's besides the point. So I've got the test clip here. So I'm going to test the resistance. Well, first I'm going to just do a diode test. If it works, you'll hear a beep. Okay, you hear the beep there. So that's good. I'm just going to switch it to ohms now and just show how much resistance is in there. It should be little to none as I go like this. And you can see it's less than 1, which is perfect, which was supposed to be, right? All right, now I'm going to flip it over to the other one and put the clippy on the bottom one and then just put it on the top. Look at that, resistance of over 300. That's not right. So like this spot right here, it's brand new, so I'm not sure why. Maybe it just needs to be cleaned. I might put a little piece of sandpaper in there just to kind of get it going. See if I just stick this in between there and see if that does anything. Maybe there's that's better, but not much. I mean, it's coming in and out. So I don't know. I gotta tweak this and see if I can get this to kind of be a full good connection here. So I will play with this and see what I find out. All right, I've tinkered this a little bit. I took my little adjustment tool here and adjusted the leaves a little closer to each other. And I also soldered the top of that, the peg, I guess, I don't know, the pad, and the bottom as well. You can see the little solder gob. If I can hold steady, this there's solder gob underneath there too. So, and because when I first I did a cleaner. I did some alcohol and I took some light sandpaper to see. I mean, no, I shouldn't have needed that at all. It's brand new, right? And it was still kind of coming in and out. It wasn't quite right. But now that I put the solder on there, when I open and close, I got the resistance here. It's not perfect, but it's way better. It's in the between 1 and 2, which is good enough probably. See, it kind of bounces around between that. And if I change it to diode test, it beeps like it's connected. So, um, I'd like it to be under 2, under 1 even, but it's a brand new switch. You can see I'm pushing it in and out. 300 is what it's like when it's basically open, which makes sense now, hindsight. And I close it, and it's under 3, and it's bound. But that should fix our problem here on this flipper now. So I'm going to put it down. I wish there was a test you could do in test mode to be able to test these flippers. But the only way I do able to test them is in gameplay, it feels like. So we'll put that thing down and we'll give it a shot. All right, game's on. Start a game and see that annoys me. I gotta figure out what's going on there, but let's just test the flipper real quick. Yay, it works. Of course. All right, I gotta die so I can get this. I want to try one more time on the side buttons. The top buttons work, and then I gotta figure out what's going on there. So loud and annoying. Somehow I got 2. Oh, the side button works too. Sweet. I thought I'd have to get a new one of those, but all right, cool. I'm gonna shut it off because that annoys me. So I don't know why that's triggering. I'm gonna have to take that apart. So yay, the flipper works. And I'm surprised this left button works because I was having connectivity issues when I was playing with it, but she works now. Very happy about that because I was like scratching my head. I thought I needed a new coil, but nope, just the switch wasn't making a good connection, so that's good. Now these drop targets are triggering all the hell. I have to take that apart. I actually ordered new drop targets because why not, right? These look like they've seen their better days anyways, and they would make good backups in case something goes wrong. But the ball's stuck back there. Not stuck, but it's that. I don't think that contributes to it because I did move it down earlier and it still was doing that thing. So the good news is the coil's working, but the bad news is that the drop targets are not staying up. So I'm gonna have to take that drop target thing apart, put these in, and we'll see if that resolves that problem. All right, I've got the drop target assembly here out from the machine over there. I think they work just fine. They're dirty as hell, but they they work as I expect. So it pops down and the reset coil pops up and it works fine. They're just really dirty and I could clean them, but I ordered these brand new ones. Figured why not? They look really nice too. Obviously, it's always nice to put in some brand new things on them. But we had a problem with this one just kicking in and then just keep going up and down. And I don't think it's this part. I think because this when it goes down, so there's a little coil that kicks in here and pushes it down, and then this whole coil right here lifts this lever up and pushes it back up, and that all seems to work just fine. Like I don't think there's any issue with the actual target itself or the mechanics. What most likely is the problem is that back here, there are switches that are attached right here. And you can see that metal thing right there. That pushes on the switch when it's down. And I don't think the switch, and I'll also show you the switch over here. These are the little switches that are doing it. And I don't think this was making good contact. So if I just clean these, this will solve an issue. You kind of, well, it's hard to tell. I'll have to look at it and see. It's not a question when it was up and it was just down. This pushing action, it may not be clean. I actually had to clean a lot of switches on this thing. Like even these little leaf switches right here, where for like the out lanes and stuff. None of these working. I had to clean almost every single one. I just took a little very, 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 very fine sandpaper, sanded it off a little bit, put a little rubbing alcohol on it, and they came back just fine. And I didn't really touch these yet because I couldn't really get to them. Now I can. So I'm going to clean these up and test them with a multimeter just to make sure everything's working. So, well, I'll do the drop targets first. I'm actually going to look at this real quick and like how does this actually come apart? Because it's got a hook onto these E-clips here. And I'm going to have to like take this apart even further, unfortunately. Probably will pull off this thing. It looks like it's only held on by 4 screws, these 2 on this side, and this whole assembly will come out, and then I will just disconnect. There's a rod that holds the drop target in the back. You can see that yellow one right there. There's a rod. So I will just have to, because when it goes up, you can see it lifts up this whole thing and clips into place, and these springs pull it down once you click it. So the spring is another one that has to get attached somewhere. So yeah, I can see it now. That's where the spring gets attached. So I'll take those springs off, and we need to, let's just take this plate off. And the fun or not so fun part is getting those E-clips off there in the back. And I don't know if there's going to be I could take the bottom off too, and that might make it easier, probably. But E-clips are a total pain in the butt for me. I don't love doing it, but got to get done here if I want to replace these. So, all right, let's get at it. All right, here it is in all its glory. I'll put back together. Not gonna lie, it took me 1 or 2 tries to get this back perfectly the way it was, but it's all up there now. And this is the coil that fires and resets it all. And then a ball comes in, knocks them down, just like that. And so there's a coil that fires up into here. There's 3 of them, and it fires up. See if I can pull this off, and it just knocks that down. For some reason in the game, it'll knock it down for you. Yeah, so this is working good. I just got to get it in the machine now. It's kind of mesmerizing to do this over and over again. Not gonna lie, getting these little clips, you can focus. Getting these little clips, these little C clips on and off are totally annoying. I had one right here, and small story, I was pulling these little clips off the targets, and one of them got away from me and flew across my garage. Had to go to the hardware store. Luckily, they had something similar for 45 cents. Let's see, it's on that one. Yeah, it's in there. I think I put it on here. Can't see it, but bad videotaping, but it's on there. So long story short is I had to improvise and get a new clip, but it's in there now. Put a little 3-in-1 oil at the bottom of those, so it, a little 3-in-1 spray. Just make sure it stays lubed and doesn't have to worry about getting dry and getting stuck. And now I gotta go put it in that machine and get it all set up. And then I'm gonna have to check those those switches, make sure that they're firing correctly before I install those as well. So first things first, get this in, get the coils on, and I probably won't, I'll get the coils on and then put it, yeah, I have to get the coils on first and then get it on there. The switches I can get in last, probably, even though I probably put this up in first because the switches got to go in the back right here. And you can imagine going up in there and getting underneath there is going to kind of suck too, but I can't come in from behind, giggity. I'll probably try to get the switches on before I fasten this whole thing to the play field, because that's just going to be slightly, actually, yeah, the switches are going to be last, but I don't know if I'm going to fasten this and do switches. I probably will, because the problem is getting the screw up in there and then spinning it. It's going to be a little bit of a pain, but we'll get it done. Okay, it's time to get this in the machine. Okay, it's all in there now. It actually went in easier than it came out, believe it or not, strangely enough. So we push this in to reset the targets up. So the targets are now up. I'm going to tap them to kind of drop them down. And there they go. Can't see that. Let's see if we can do this better. Yep. All right. Now I looked at these switches, and they're all closed to start with. And I adjusted them now. See, they're solely open, and when this drop target comes down, it pushes this bent metal into that and closes the connection. So I'm going to install them now, because I fixed all these. All these were like this when I first looked at it. Pull them out now, so that way they're not like that. And now we'll see what happens. I'm going to put them all on the back side of this, and I can hook up my multimeter to see if they're closing good or not. So I'm going to put them in and see how it goes. All right, I've got the first switch in there, and you can see right there that's closed because the drop target is down. You can see that on the top here it's down. It's closed, and I got my leads hooked up to my multimeter 1.5, which means it's shorted. If I turn this to diode, it's telling me it's connected, which I expect. So 1.8, 1.5 ohms is fine. And then when I push this up, I'm going to do it from the side here. You should see the switch open as I push this up. Whoa, where'd it go? Focus. There we go. See that? As I push it up, there it goes. See how it's open right there now? And then, so there's open, there's no OL. And then somebody, you can see it if I hold it. It's right there in that spot. And I push on the thing, closes it. And now that switch is closed, and we get a connection. So that was not like that when even after I put that switch in, it was always closed no matter what this is. So that was probably why we kept on getting the this coil kept firing over and over again, and that's because that was closed, because it kept thinking like, oh, it's not, it's trying to get it up, right? And it was never getting it up, so this was never opening like that while I was resetting. And since now it's open, it's definitely open. When it'll know that it's up, and it won't keep firing. And when it's time to knock it down again, or where the ball knocks it down, like that, it'll be better once it's not all the way down, but that's fine, it's good enough. Let's try this again. It's not all the way down, but it will be better because of, anyways, so that closed the connection, and when it's kind of laying flat right now, so it's not going all the way down as good, but it will once the play field's laying flat, and that'll work just nice. Sweet, now I'm gonna do the rest. All right, I got everything hooked up. Those switches checked. These letters are lighting up again. Like I was still having surprise. Sometimes this A and M is working, sometimes it's not. It could be a loose connection. I'll probably eventually look at that closer. Still waiting for these two to show up, which won't happen until I get that chip in. Drop targets are in, switches are checked. If I start a game, hopefully that doesn't continuously pound that solenoid. We'll see. Okay, one's down. I think that's expected because this. Okay, I think we're good. We're gonna go right into the thing right away. Check the flippers. Yay, flippers work. And I suck. And I'm gonna kill myself so I can get back into the pinball thing. Man, you get 5 lives. I'm gonna have to. That's pretty liberal. All right, let's go into the pinball thing again. It's very hard to do with one hand, but okay, we are good with the drop targets though. Everything is going as expected. One drop down, okay. But that's probably intentional. Okay, we are pretty much playing our very first functional Pac-Man game. That was pretty sweet. I've got an older ball in there. I still have to clean the play field up and stuff, but this is looking very promising. Drop targets are good. Switches are adjusted. I'm going to go back down again here in a second. Okay. Yeah, I know. Okay, we got that. Nice thing about this game is there's no, what do you call it? There's no like out lane to lose the ball. It's just down the middle or nothing. But I feel like it's a little wider on this area right here to make it die a little bit better or easier. Sound still has a little bit of issues on it. I have to figure out what's going on there eventually. I still wonder if it's related to that same, what do you call it? That chip, that decoder chip that we're going to replace. This is looking great. Getting the Pac-Man Energizer set up here. I got new what do you call it? New rubbers to go in, so that's going to help. All right, I'm going to die intentionally. I want to look, but yeah, this feels wider. It's like 4 fingers. I'm going to check on my pin bot over here just to see what it looks like compared to that. Yeah, it's a full ½ inch wider, I would say, which is not a lot, but it's significant enough, if that makes sense. So, long story short is we got drop targets working, got the left flipper working. We got to clean the play field up, replace the rubbers. Those drop targets look really nice. I'm really happy. Hey, I got a high score. Up, down, select slider. Yeah, I'm just going to use joystick, up, down, letters to the right. Oh, you got to go to the right. Got it. But that score is going to be gone since I don't have a battery pack in there. So, okay, cool. On to the next thing, cleaning. This is probably actually the next thing I'm going to do, but I'm probably not going to start it today. I have a new control panel overlay for this. It's going to make this look 10 times better. And then I'm probably going to clean up that door down there too. So a lot of the things are just cosmetic at this point, with the exception of these 2 lights not working. So lots of cosmetics to do. Probably I'll start on this tomorrow and start doing cosmetic stuff. All right, we are going to be back at trying to get these 2 lights to light up. And if you remember earlier, I believe it was a decoder chip. So I took the board out of the game. And I've got it over here on the bench because I had to make room for my cars to get inside the garage. So back on the bench, no longer on the fancy table, which is not very fancy at all. But remember, it's been a few days since I made a video, so I'm kind of just rehashing what I did or I got to this point. But I changed a bunch of these SCRs that were blown, and I changed this one at S7 or Q17 that I thought was blown. It didn't help to get those lights. We started reading this chip, and the pin at 13, let's see, yeah, no, 14. This is 12, 13, 14. Pin 14 over here was outputting some weird stuff. And my only explanation is there's something wrong with it. And it wasn't even quite making it to high voltage for the output. So when I'm going to replace it, and I've got some replacements here from Marco Pinball. And you can see that the 4115s are the top, are these numbers here, right? And the one that's closest to the chip there is this top one here. It says CD4514BE. And this says 4514BE. It's not the same starting letters, but same ending letters. So we're going to try that. This is RTOCD, but it ends as BCN. I have to look up what that means, but long story short, the company I ordered this from said these are replacements for the Bally part, which has a code on it, but I don't remember. And then I also got some sockets. I just got extras just in case I want to try another one, but we're going to pop this out, put a socket in, and I'm going to probably have to cut this socket and make it a little narrower, because if you look at the chip, it doesn't, see if I can line these holes up. It's a little too wide. So we're going to have to improvise a little bit and cut down the middle here and make it a little wider basically, so I can fit in the socket. So nothing too crazy, but just a little bit of MacGyver action, if you will, to kind of get it to work on the spot. So all right, I am going to fire up the soldering iron and get this out, and we'll see what happens. All right, I got the socket in there, looking good. The chip actually came out pretty easily. It's a lot easier to take chips out when there's no pads underneath it, but that is the solder work. Looks professional, doesn't it? I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I feel like it turned out all right. So, all right, we got this chip, and what strange thing is, I lied. I thought this socket was smaller than the space it's supposed to go in, but it's not. It's actually the right size, so I don't have to do any cutting or anything like that. So yay for buying the right stuff when I thought I didn't buy the right stuff. So all right, let's get this in here without breaking any pins. One hand like that, and we are locked and loaded. All right, time to go get this in the machine and fire it up. All right, got the lamp solenoid board in place. Newly replaced chip. All the plugs are in. We're good to go. Let's turn it on. The nice thing about this is I'm not too worried about it not booting, most likely, because it's just decoding signals. So if it doesn't work, we'll just see a lot more lamps out. And if it does work, everything will work. So let's hope for the best. All right, we're starting our boot process. All right, we're booted. Going onto the front here. I did replace the door, by the way. I didn't really film it because it's not that exciting, but the door was all rusted and stuff. Here's the old one. It was really all rusted and looking beat up and not seeing its better days. So replaced it, got some nice working bulbs in there, looking good. So let's go into test if it works. And the screen's looking really weird too, so that's a thing. Okay, we can't. Huh. I wonder why that doesn't work now. Did I miss something over here? Huh. I'll have to come back to that and come back to any of the lamps work? Some of the lamps work. I don't think we lost anything except maybe this one. But I see the ones on the side. So we're not any worse than we were, except the screen looks really bright now for some reason. I have to look at that. I have to figure out why this test switch isn't doing anything. Okay, I will be doing some quick investigation. All right, when I took off this door and actually when I used this door for the replacement and put this on, I had to disconnect this plug. And I disconnected it. I didn't do anything wrong. It just, the connection between that red wire on both sides just wasn't connecting anymore. It was very strange. And that red wire goes to that switch, which you can't see. Can you? Right there goes that switch. It goes down here. And I took a screwdriver and I probably should have shown it, but it's too late now. I took a screwdriver and kind of got rid of any corrosion on there and stuff. And it's like a male and female end, and the male end was going to the female, and I kind of closed the hole on the female side, and then I sprayed it with a little bit of deoxit to kind of rejuvenate it a little bit. And now she's really connected. So now when I turn this on, this should work. All right, we're booting. The screen is still kind of messed up, which is annoying me. I'll have to look at that next, I guess. Did we just not? We just lost. We don't have any video at all. Even better. That's even better. Interesting. I can probably flip into test mode right now, quick. And there's all the lamps. And look at that. These two are firing up, so that worked. Awesome. Every single light works. Mission accomplished on that. Now what's wrong with my screen? These pots here are just crap, these four. So I'm probably going to replace those. These four right here, and then this volume pot. This doesn't do anything. So I'm going to check the solder on this back of this plug too real quick, because I think that might be loose as well. Check that. First, since I don't have these pots are coming in the mail in a couple days, so I'll replace those eventually. But I'm going to take this board off quick and check the flow. Let me get this light better. I'm going to check the flow on behind this and check these wires for good connection. And if they do, then that should solve the problem, hopefully. All right. So fix one problem, fix two problems. Now the light is completely out. That's awesome. All right. Let's start with that and go from there. All right. Reflowed solder behind this jumper here. These are the wires, not jumper. This plug. I think these are wires that go all the way up into the monitor up here. You know what I didn't do? I didn't have this plugged in last time, so that's gonna be hard for the monitor to work when that's part of the video section. I think it's all labeled here somewhere. It doesn't really say what that is. It says audio. This is reset. This is power supply. This is all video. It's important. That's all that matters. So on the schematics, it says video and video input output stuff. So this probably talks to the MPU and does things. So yeah. All right, let's turn it on. See if we get anything better. See if I can actually see the test mode, which would be great. You know? So that's a good sign. All right. Actually, exactly the way the monitor should look. Holy cow. All right. Jumping into test mode one more time. Amp test. And ladies and gentlemen, all freaking lights are working except for that one and that one. All right, but these are the two I wanted to fix. This could be just a loose wire. I will now go back and figure out though. Let's see if this is, if I twist it a little bit, maybe. Nope. All right, I'm going to take a quick look at that, but my guess is just a little wire, or maybe I blew another SCR, which would suck, but wouldn't be the end of the world because I got a bunch of those. So, all right, though, this was the biggest thing I was worried about. Now these lights work. It's awesome. All right, now I have all the flashers working. Holy cow. Finally got this one, which is connected to this one. You can see in the back that's going off. But dang, so I got a alligator clip going to my lead right here, to my multimeter here, and I'm checking resistance, and I want to check the resistance from the connected leg on Q8 right here. So I'm putting the lead on this one, and right now it's setting negative 13, so that's not a good example. I'm just going to turn this off quick. So you want the resistance like 2 ohms or less. Basically, that's kind of pretty much a dead short or damn close to it. Right now I'm at 0, so if I go to Q18 again on this leg, hold it there, I am I'm in negative. Like, that's how good I got the connection. This was reading 14 earlier, like 14 plus, and that was enough to stop the connection. It was very strange. I think the clip wasn't, I kind of sanded the clip right here and kind of cleaned up the contact, and I kind of just cleaned it up. I actually did try replacing this SCR transistor. Did not do a damn thing, which was annoying. But right here, this plug, like, it just wasn't having a good connection from here to here. So I sanded it, just get the fresh metal a little bit, and kind of push the connector in a little bit. These connectors are kind of crappy. So I kind of try to get a fresh connection between the 2 points right here. And now, it was weird, it says negative. Like, how did that get so good? So now it's saying it's 0. Keep pushing it. Yeah, it keeps going down to 0 now. So I got a really good connection between the bulb and this, all the way to the point of this transistor. And that solved the issue. Very strange. I'm going to turn it on one more time just to make sure it wasn't an accident. Which is this switch right here. And we'll pop in the lamp test as soon as it pops up. There it goes. We're at high score. Find the test button. Freaking test button that didn't work earlier. Communications. Lamp test. Boom. They still work. All right, I got everything hooked up with that fancy new volume pot there. Set it right in the middle so we don't get too crazy with the volume. And yeah, let's see if it should definitely fix the that not working, and then we'll see if it fixes anything else for us, like the crackling we were hearing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can hear the sound. That's good. It booted. I don't hear a rumble. I'm going to take my microphone. Maybe you can hear something in there, but it's not much. Okay, we're going to go to put my microphone back on. We're going to go to sound test. And there's communications and lamp test. All my lamps are still working, it looks like. That's great. And we're going to solenoid. You can hear that sound. Wow. Dudes, I think we actually solved our little mystery with the crackling noise. So that's flippin' sweet. I'm not gonna, I mean, it could still come back, but this is freaking awesome. I think it's solved. That little volume pot was causing issues with crackling and in the video. Crazy. Well, we're going to keep listening to it. And I'm going to go to the switch test because I want to test all these switches out. I haven't done that yet. So far, I've done lamps and solenoids. I have not done any switches yet. So that's up next for me. But this is freaking awesome. Oh my gosh. This is why it makes it all worth it when you find something that fixes the problem. So I thought those caps were going to be for sure a problem, but they must be solid. I guess the microfarads is what it is. I'm gonna be curious when I get that package in the mail um, to see if that they measure the same or not. But we'll see. I also got, let's see here. I also got my T molding in, so you can see tmolding.com, and yeah, so far so good. All right, I'm gonna go test switches now, and if that works, we have a complete working game, and I just got to clean up the play field and clean this up and get the T molding on, and done and done. All right, on to cosmetics. I've got the play field off. I've started to peel away the decal. I had to take all the controls off of this thing. So there are 0 buttons, joysticks, even the metal hooks up here. There is a little piece of rubber here, like foam, I should say, which makes sense. I'm going to have to obviously replace this. This is meant to hold the glass in place and kind of give it a cushion. So I have to figure out a solution for that. What I'm going to do later. I have to sand this down a little bit too. There's a little bit of rust on here. Also, there was rust on this entire bracket on here, and I've got soaking in vinegar right now to get the rust off that. But how am I getting this decal off? Is I'm taking my hot air gun, and I'm doing it with 2 hands, but right now I'm just for demoing it with 1 hand. And I get on level 1 here, and I just kind of warm it up as much as possible, and then I have to just pull, and it starts giving, and then I rinse and repeat. A little bit more, and then I pull. But when I'm doing this, I'm doing it 2 hands, so I'm kind of doing it at the same time. So I'm going to stop right there and get to the joystick part, this is going on pretty good. I got this other side to do yet, so 25% of the way there. And then when this is all done, I got to sand it down, get this rust off of this, and use some sander on it, and prime it, I think, too, a little bit. And then we'll be good to go. All right, we have a clean, spanking new, almost spanking new play field. Doesn't look like much now, but it's definitely got to the point where it's ready to start applying the play field. I worked on this for probably 2 to 3 hours. Just step 1 was peeling it off with this hot air gun, just kind of peeling off the layer. But once you got that off, you had to get all the glue off here as well, so you can get a nice, smooth, and original surface here on this sheet metal. And to get the glue off, you took this citrus stripping gel, you spray it on there, and you wait for 30 minutes. If you have time, wait all night. And then you just take the putty knife here and just kind of scrape it off. And when that's done, you spray it again, and you start using a little bit of sand block here. This was the 3rd one. I finished this one. You can see I started. You see the gray metal area or glue that I got off there, but it's not perfect, and there's a couple spots that still has a little bit, right there. There's a little bit of stuff here and there, but nothing that is serious, and 90% clean. I also sanded off all the rust off here. It just took a sanding block and got the rust off as best I could. There's just a little bit more. I might do a little bit more here right now as I see that, but nothing too bad. The back has still got some, it's not perfect. There's a little bit of rust on there, but nothing serious. But yeah, so we got that. I had the play field stretching out overnight. So now it's nice and flat. This shouldn't roll up anymore as I pull this out. So that is ready to go, and put that on there. And the nice thing is the holes are pre-cut on it, so it just kind of should, in theory, line up. perfectly with the buttonholes. And once that's on, I bought this rubber strip, this neoprene strip adhesive, 1/4 inch thick. I think they used 1/8 inch thick when they did it. Did a little bit thicker, just kind of a little bit more of a cushion. It looks bigger in the camera, but it's 1/4 inch, and it should press down pretty good. So that's going to go on the back here on this part, just to hold the glass in place. So I'm going to do that. In the meantime, I had the bracket that was holding it on here soaking in vinegar water. You can see the rusty uh, vinegar just working its magic on here. So you take a brush. There's any remaining vinegar. Take a brush and just brush it off. You got to rinse off some cold water off it, but this will neutralize the rust and stop the process at least. So that's good. So I got to clean that off and wipe that down and put it all together and get it onto that playfield. So let's get at it. All right, the control panel overlay, also known as CPO, is on. There's a couple imperfections. You can see a little bit of bubbles here and there. It's not easy, and I'm not going to lie. This is kind of a mind-numbing. At least the top is really good. The top. So I put a screw here and a screw there to kind of line up the holes, and then kind of just put it on as best I could. I used this tool to kind of smooth it out and get it on there as best I could. It's not a professional job. It's an amateur job, but it's a good enough job for me. I already put on the rubber here to kind of help protect the glass. I got the 2 brackets in for holding it down, but this should work pretty good. It might be thicker than it's supposed to be, but hopefully that's not going to backfire on me, but I think it should be fine. Probably, I got 1/4 inch, probably should got 1/8 inch now, hindsight. I saw it on there, I was like, 1/4 inches, I wanted to go more. I did, and I took, actually it was too wide, I had to use a pair of scissors to cut it down in half to kind of, because I didn't need any more wire than this. So, yeah, it's the playfield is control panel overlay is ready to go, and let's put it on the game and see how it looks. The new control panel overlay is set. Look at how amazing it looks. I've got the glass in there, but it's dirty. The playfield and the glass are next up on the things to do, but gosh, it came out good. I'm not gonna lie. So many times have I screwed up control panel overlays, but this one came out good. Luckily, the top is the best part too. It's awesome. All right, starting on the playfield cleanup. Got all the plastics off right here. You can see that I took them off. I also took off the spinners. The spinners I got soaking in hot soapy water trying to get the decals off. I'll get to those in a minute while I try to clean up the playfield. Took most of the plastics off. I didn't take off the ones down here. I don't think there's any general illumination underneath this, which is good. You can see I got some burnt out bulbs here I'm going to replace. No big deal. But this is kind of funny. That ball should not be in there. I didn't even know there was a second ball in there. I can't believe this didn't like knock out this light bulb eventually, but this was the ball that probably is supposed to go down here. And it's got a little rust spot on it, so I definitely don't want to deal with that. But yeah, a little surprise. Got a ball up in here. So yeah, I'm gonna replace all these rubbers, get some fresh rubbers in here, get a look and clean up the playfield, put some mineral water on there to kind of take off the old wax if there is any old wax, and then get this looking nice and spiffy. Well, folks, the rubbers are in place, the glass is in place, the spinners are in place, everything is in place, everything is working. I got all the plastics back on. One thing to note, you can see in the back corner there, that metal screw with the little gate metal piece of metal has to be underneath that plastic.
the big plastic behind there, because otherwise it pushes it down and the ball can get stuck behind. So when they have that ghost there on the left, that drop target goes down, the ball will get stuck up in there, and that's no bueno. So always make sure you have that metal gate tab thingy underneath the plastic. Just a note. Um, yeah, it is a wrap on this for now. I'm going to do something with that and paint it and make it look a little nicer, but I can't do that right now because it's winter in Minnesota and I don't want to have a bunch of sawdust in my garage and affecting all these games. So this spring I'm going to kind of paint that. I'm going to put a little uh, take a router and do a nice little edge on that to make it look a little more, for like a better phrase, like it's meant to be there, even though it's not. But other than that, new new control panel. The buttons are all nice and spiffy. Um, the monitor recapping is done. Obviously, cleaned up the glass on all three of them. Got the marquee light working. And then the big thing was getting it to boot. Obviously, with getting this RAM replaced. Luckily, I had an indicator. I had to put the a new LED in there because the LED in there wasn't working, which is very strange. But it was just disconnected. Somebody kind of broke it off. I had to replace a bunch of those SCR transistors. That chip was not working on one of the pins, which I thought was surprising. Replacing that, fixed the two lights to wire it up. I added a battery pack too. So this is my solution to battery pack. This holds a CR2032 battery inside. I just put a piece of Velcro tape behind there. You can kind of see, and just solder it in where it belongs. And now it holds my high scores settings, and um, after it gets shut down. So I gotta get a. Other than that, everything is awesome. Super happy the way it turned out. Oh, I added T-molding. Obviously, the T-molding came in. You can see a few little dents I did. I'm not the best at putting T-molding in, but if you take the light off it, you can't tell. Place the door too. The door was another thing. But that's a wrap. Looking great. Now I've got some Baby Pac-Man to play. This game is tough. Not gonna lie, it's a hard game, but I'm up for the challenge. You can see my crappy scores so far as I tested it out. The cool thing is it remembers that after every restart now, so I can know how bad I did. So thanks for watching.